to Just
Right
Now. What's today?
I wonder what. We're wearing pink.
And you see that little
Heart over there?
It's, drum roll please,
Valentine's Day! Oh, I'm excited for this topic.
We're tying it right into the holiday of Valentine's Day.
And
holiday.
Something all of us need to hear. Our topic today is learning to build a relationship with yourself in your early 20s. How are you feeling about this one?
I feel like it sounds so simple, you know, like building a relationship, like I know me, I know my name.
Like, what does that even mean?
Exactly.
I'm just gonna start off with our first topic right now, so.
Happy Valentine's, spookies. Let's get into it. Okay, so I want to start off by saying that if you are spending this Valentine's Day alone, single, and you are feeling down or sad, I want to tell you that it is completely okay and your feelings are definitely valid. I think we've all been there at one point in our lives. I know I have. Whether you've never been in a relationship and you feel down and sad because you haven't experienced that, or because you miss an ex and you miss old Valentines. Today is a day of love. We're surrounded by it. We're reminded that people are in relationships. So what I'm trying to get at is that if you're finding yourself in a situation where you feel upset about it, take the time to recognize that, and it is completely okay. But
always a but.
But don't stay there too long, because I want to talk about how society and social media in general are super articulate in like making sure that you convince yourself that you need to be in a relationship.
A big one.
Yep.
Especially today. I woke up this morning, went on Instagram, and I was like, whoo.
Everyone. And think about how many memes you've seen about me talking to this nice guy, but like my ex is calling and I pick up. Think about how many memes you see about going back to ex-boyfriends, toxic relationships. Like, your subconscious mind does not know the difference between reality and a fantasy. So the more you're observing that and absorbing, you are inevitably kind of convincing your brain time after time that you need to be with someone, you need to be in a relationship, which just sucks you back into this feeling of like, what am I doing wrong? But you're not. It's super important to take space away from that and realize that today is basically a day of love, which is just any other day, because you can give yourself love every single day by doing little things. And you can also give your friends love, family love. But no, I think, do you agree that social media perpetuates this idea that...
Such a big thing. Like I just said, my mood changed as soon as I went on Instagram this morning, and I saw all of that, and I was like, oh, like, you can see this all for what it is, but those are actual people, and they could have relationship issues, and they're going through things.
Which is not what they're going to show.
It's never shown on Valentine's Day, and it kind of shows like a highlight reel. Like, everything is perfect, but like, that's not true. And we're here to tell you, like, yeah, there are great relationships out there. People are going through the swings. They're literally trying their hardest to meet the other person's standards and doing that. But, like, there is a time where, people are trying to make it seem like that their relationships are going perfectly, but that's not always the case.
That's not always the case.
And social media, like she said, is a big factor in that. So if you woke up today and you're kind of like, damn, I wish I was in a relationship, or like, I wish I had a person for me, you don't need to feel that way. I promise you, your person's right around the corner. And if not, take this time.
Your person.
Exactly.
You become your person for sure.
Firsthand. And you're the first person you'll have on this earth and the last person you'll have on this earth. Your soul is what you can control. So give your energy to things that truly are adding to you. And that's a big one.
Yes, because like I said again, social media is going to try to highlight this idea in your head that you need to be with someone in order to feel full or fulfilled. You see it everywhere. TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. You see it on the street. People talk about it all the time. But I think that it's very important to understand that you may not be in a relationship right now, and you may feel down, or you may want that and crave that. But in this moment, you need to be so appreciative that you have more time to spend with yourself, and be intentional about your time being single, so that you can get to know yourself and give yourself so much love and compassion, because you deserve it. Like Naya said, we're only here in this one life with ourselves. You can't wake up tomorrow and be somebody else as much as you would want to. You can't.
And you don't want to be. You really don't want to be.
You shouldn't want to.
Yeah, like, you are your best friend. At the end of the day, romanticize your life with yourself. It is hard to say, but like even the little things where you can literally go on a walk and try and get out of your head, listen to music, and be like, damn, like this is life. Like you don't have to always be with a person to show that you're living life. That's not what shows living. If anything, you being confident in yourself and being able to spend time with yourself is what will bring you that special person on the other side, because you will be attracting that energy.
Yes.
That is a big one.
That's a huge one. 100%.
Because, yeah, if you feel like you're in a relationship, or if you're alone and you are giving off energy that like, oh, I can't take care of myself and I can't do this for me, or I don't know how to cook for myself, or anything, like any of the basic survival things, how is someone else supposed to take care of you if you can't even take care of yourself? You can't expect anyone to want you either. Yes, your person or whoever's in your life will have that, like, add to your life in a way where you'll grow together, but they're not meant to be able to fix everything in your life. There's still going to be ups and downs. And so, yeah, you are the person that you have to rely on for the rest of your life. Even things go south in relationships sometimes. You may think it's the person for the rest of your life, but you never know. So never rely so much on another person. You have the control to do that, because even when you're in a relationship, never feel too comfortable. I feel like it's yeah, just a man, just a woman. At the end of the day, if you don't want to work on yourself even when you're in a relationship, the relationship will go south.
Yep.
It's a big thing.
So I guess first step that we would share with you guys about learning to build a relationship with yourself is to unlearn this thing that is so imprinted in our heads, which is that you are only as good as your partner. So unlearn that you need to be with someone to feel better, that if you aren't in a relationship or have never been or haven't in years or can't get over your ex yet, that you're not worthy of love and you'll never find it. You have to unlearn that, and that is the first step to start to reprogram your brain into learning, like, wait, hey, I don't need to necessarily be in a relationship to know how to be in one, because you could build one for yourself.
It's okay to be alone. Even go buy yourself
Miley
flowers.
Cyrus.
I can buy myself flowers.
What?
Hey.
Okay.
I was about to sing.
Alright.
But no, literally, like, you can do things for yourself that another person obviously can do, but you can do it for yourself too. So just remember that. This ties us to our next topic, and this one's a bit more of a harsher one, but I'm gonna explain it. And so basically we have this whole perception that being alone means loneliness, and that is not the case at all, because you can be alone, you can feel lonely, but the reason you're feeling lonely probably, is because it's like the absence of connection. But solitude is the presence of yourself. So like, even when you're in those moments and you're low and you're feeling like, oh, like I'm alone in this world and people aren't there for me, there are ways that you can, when you're in your high moments, it is so important to really pick up on the things that are making you happy, like the connections that people are bringing to you, like even like if you're talking to guys or you're just like going on little dates and whatever, and you truly are feeling happy. It's even if the relationship goes south, you have to pick up on those little things, because when you're happy, it's easier for you to communicate, like, hey, like I need this when I am in a lower state. I need this when, like, hey, like I might have a lower day today or this, but I can tell you right now, like if I have one of those days, this is what you can do for me. In relationships and friendships and any of that stuff, it is like so important to pick up on that, like those feelings. Like if you're feeling lonely or whatever, you may feel lonely, but when you are on your highs and you are feeling connected to people and stuff, you can tell people how you want to be treated. And this is where things go south a lot of the time. It's like you expect people to be there for you when you're in your lows, and they're like just how to go about things and how to do things for you. But like, you have to take your time intentionally. You have to be very intentional with how you are trying to be perceived and how you are being perceived yourself. solitude in yourself is generally just such a big thing, because when you have that and you find ground in like knowing what you need in your low moments, then when you're in your low moments, it's easier to ask for that help. Or in relationships, a lot of the time they go south because people don't have solitude with themselves. It's always, oh, I'm lonely, I just feel the need to be with someone, and like I want to have a boyfriend and feel all those good things and whatever. But that's just for like the connection in the moment. But then things like change in time, because then real life happens and you don't know how to help each other in those moments, because what did you do? You're not thinking intentionally. If you're going to talk to a guy or you're going to talk to a girl or whatever, be intentional of why you're talking to them.
Yes. Come from a place of, I really like this person because of their person.
Exactly.
Not because they're distracting you from some sort of pain, or just because, like we said earlier, you want to feel like you're a part of something.
Yeah.
But I think that's actually such a good point, because that reminds me a lot of when people say like you can't expect your partner to fulfill you.
So
if you're one of those people where you're in a relationship and you say like I'm only happy when I'm around them, and people romanticize that, and they're like, oh
no.
No.
Get away.
Red flag.
Because we've both been there.
Yes.
And no.
No, when you place your happiness and self-security in the hands of another person, that is one of the most dangerous things to do and riskiest. And also, it's like a very harsh thing to do for your little kid self.
So true.
Like, you cannot expect someone else to make you happy. If you're in a relationship with someone because, again, like you love their personality and they're kind or whatever, you still cannot put all your eggs in that basket and be like, if I'm having a bad day, I know that they're gonna fix it. They may not. They may be having a bad day too. Of course, you want to have people in your life that add to you and that allow you to grow and see better things about you and your life, but it can't be a cause and effect. It has to be more of just a support. You can't expect,
never depend.
Yes.
Yeah.
You cannot fully depend. You or expect.
Yeah. True.
Don't depend and do not expect, because the only thing that you have control over in this world, literally the only thing you will ever have control over, is you and how you think and what you say and what you do. Your thoughts, your behavior, and your actions. Behavior and actions are synonymous, but
same. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't expect someone to make you happy.
Yeah, and that's basically like, if you wouldn't want to spend time with yourself alone, why would someone else?
Literally. Yes! Would you... Ooh, that's good. The question here is, would you date yourself?
Yeah.
And I know...
A couple of months, or a year ago, I wouldn't have dated myself. Maybe now I'm getting to a point where I'm like...
I would date you.
I would date you too. We basically are. But at the same time, yeah, I can honestly admit I wouldn't have dated myself a year ago. I was so dependent on just the fact of like, oh, this person's gonna bring me happiness, or this person will numb this pain, or
that's
like,
a big one.
It'll take away from something else. But at the end of the day, if you don't want to spend time with yourself, you can't expect anyone else to want to either.
You were saying how you can tell people how to like treat you and like you can ask for things, but I also think it's very important to point out you teach people how to treat you.
So
you literally teach them how to treat you based off what you accept. Just keep that in mind. So if you struggle to spend time with yourself and really understand like how connected you are to yourself, how you think, how you feel in the moment, how certain scenarios like make you feel, then you're in a very vulnerable spot, because then people can walk all over you. You could be their doormat and you won't even really necessarily know how to express that or say that, and then you're teaching them like this is okay. But you're not trying to teach them, you're just coming from a place of I don't know how to stand up for myself because I don't really know who I am. You get me? So I think
so good. That was really good.
I think it's very important to keep that in mind. You teach people how to treat you, so teach yourself how to treat you first.
Yeah. Take that time. You don't have to blame the outside world and be a victim to your own life. You can be like, hey, like maybe I am playing a part in this. Maybe something I'm putting out in the world is not aligning with what I'm meant to be doing, so I'm not attracting the right people. That is where you can take time for yourself, be there for yourself, give your baby self love.
Everybody give yourself a hug right now.
Like, genuinely, like, it's like, it is such a beautiful thing to know that your brain can rewire and you can, like, you don't have to be stuck in the same cycles. Like, you were the person that used to be in back-to-back toxic relationships and stuff like that. It can change. Like,
it can, like, something so simple of you saying that is actually so powerful if you, like, really
dissect it.
Like, someone who's, like, experienced such toxic, repulsive dynamics, hearing that, especially from someone who is close to you, it can change. Like, let that sit in. You have control of who you allow in your life. Literally.
And once you realize that and, like, take control over that, it is so, like, different. Like, you can, I want to ask you right now, I know you've been in, like, a couple of relationships, and yeah, like, everyone goes through relationships that just don't work out, but how can you speak on your past relationships to who you are now?
I think that in my past relationships, I 100% expected.
Expectation.
I just expected.
That's a big one, yeah.
I expected to the max. I mean, I expected every single relationship to bring me what I couldn't bring myself in the moment. I think that's huge, and that's why none of them worked out.
Yeah. But,
I mean,
like,
so,
admitting that to yourself is a big thing.
I mean, there's a lot more that goes into it, but I think the overall thing is, I expected my partners to not only complete me and make me happy, but I also expected them to distract me and solve all my pain. And listen, I'm all about, I do want a masculine man that knows how to solve my problems.
Of course.
But you cannot go in fully only expecting them to. You have to have it for you first. I've, been single for a little over a year now, which is so long.
Yay!
No, I actually love it. But I think now I'm focusing so much more on, like, okay, now that I have time alone, like, what things bring me happiness that, like, someone else can't bring me.
And it's easier to also pay attention to those things when you have time alone.
100%.
Like, if you are freshly out of a relationship or any of that, like, your mind is foggy, you're out of that, but, like, once you take that, like, get to that year mark or whatever, you start seeing things differently.
Yeah.
You can say you're taking time for yourself and be like 3 months and then go for another relationship. That's not time for yourself.
I've also done that.
Yeah, I have too. Like, that is a thing.
So we're not judging. We're coming here very...
Bro, this is the most realist thing. Like, this is just right now. We are being real with you because we've done that. But we're also on a different mindset right now to the point where it's just peaceful to know that once you spend time with yourself, you will attract the right people. You will, and that's not to say the first person is going to be your person right away when you get back into the game. It's just one step closer.
And also, when we say, like, don't depend on, like, relationships to, bring you everything, it's not just romantic relationships. We have to keep that in mind with friendships, family, anybody, co-workers. You do not expect. Don't expect.
You can set expectations for yourself, but at the end of the day, external expectations are never going to be as clear as you want them to be.
Yeah.
Like, you can say, oh, this person's perfect on the outside and whatever, and, like, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months down the line, a year down the line, he could turn out, or she could turn out to be the most toxic person in the world.
Yeah.
So
I also feel like when you expect things from people, tell me if you've ever felt this, but when you expect things from people, and let's say, like, they do come through, like, I expect you to always be kind and bring me joy, and you do, it's not going to be continuous because she's human and she's flawed and she's gonna have a bad day one day. So if you continuously expect things, and let's say in the moment, like, it is happening and you're like, see, I knew it, then what are you gonna do when she snaps at you one time because she had a bad day, or when someone couldn't come through for you? That doesn't make them a bad friend, but you're gonna convince yourself of that because this whole time you've been living off an expectation that has just coincidentally worked out. But when you go in thinking, like, hey, I don't expect, but this is a pattern, and I hope it's what I'm used to. But again, don't be so adamant on, I know this is what's gonna happen, or this is what should happen, because it's not, and there's beauty in that too. I wanted to ask you something. So what do you think is the difference between, like, being intentional about spending time alone versus not? Like, people do self-care. Like, what do you think differentiates, like, superficial
from, like, So like a big thing in our like generation, I've also done this personally, is like self-care days have been like a highlight thing. Like people will just take a warm bath, or they'll write down in their journal for a day, or like just do the trend. Like it's like a trend for everyone. But like self-care, to do it intentionally and to actually spend time with yourself, is like, rather than coming home, just putting something in the microwave and just watching Netflix, be intentional. Come home, make a meal for yourself, and then be intentional with what you're watching. There's such a difference between doing things mindlessly and actually being intentional with it. So self-care, yeah, you could see on TikTok or Instagram or whatever, people are putting candles on and like doing the salt baths and whatever, but real self-care is actually not that. It's actually ugly as fuck. Like, it is me.
Yeah,
it's not that, and that is,
it's painful.
It is painful, and those things can help you, of course. Like, you can put on a candle to help you, and you can take warm baths to make you feel better. But real self-care is looking on the inside, seeing what truly makes you happy, going on a walk and being like, oh, like a new destination today, and like, I didn't know that was there, but now I know, and I can go back there. Like, being intentional is such a different thing than just walking mindlessly through your life.
Yeah, and having the couple days.
Exactly, and that also ties into the expectation part. Is like, when you go mindlessly, you're expecting a lot. It's like, this is gonna come to me, like I'm going to one day wake up and be like happy, and like this is gonna come to me. But like, being intentional with what you're doing is different, whereas like, I'm gonna go read this book, or journal this out for like a few months, or like being intentional with it, that's going to give you something.
Yeah,
that's
and being consistent.
Consistent is another thing, but like in general, actually doing something intentionally is going to bring more to you, rather than expecting things and doing things mindlessly.
Ooh, that's really good. That's really, really good.
Like,
because I feel like if you put it into analogy, like an interpersonal relationship, meaning a relationship between yourself and someone else, right?
Yeah.
You cannot expect that relationship to flourish or to really last if you're not consistent with, hey, what are you doing? Hey, how are you feeling? If you just have a couple days out of the month where you're like, hey, then you'll just be like, okay, like, yeah, I know the person.
It's like mindless.
Yes.
Mindless.
But I think what we're trying to get at is learning to build a relationship with yourself, especially when you're in your 20s and so young and have so much more to learn and explore, is that be consistent. Consistently show yourself, like, I want to learn about you. I'm interested about you. Be kind, and those face masks and like bath days, yeah, like they can work.
They can help.
And they can be part of it, but it needs to be deeper. If you and your
go deeper.
You need to.
Yeah.
In a romantic relationship, you guys aren't going to last or get married if you guys are only talking about what's your favorite color, babe. Like, what? Like, babe, what'd you think about Wicked? Did Ariana Grande eat? You need to get into the more painful things. Hey, what was your childhood upbringing like?
Yeah.
Do you want to have kids? How do you handle money? What do you think about money? What does life really mean to you? When we talk about like building, like, you know, everybody always is romanticizing, oh my god, like I want a man that do that for yourself. Sit down, and like she said, it's gonna be ugly.
Yeah.
If your eyes are freaking swollen,
if you're not crying, yeah, you're not going through it. Basically, if you are crying over getting over a breakup and whatever, that's healing from the breakup, but that's not doing the hard work. I think it's very important. People get messed up with relationships and thinking like, oh, when you start relying on relationships and then you become dependent on people and whatever, then you lose your sense of self. Like, it's generally very easy to lose your sense of self, and then when you come out of the relationship, you think, oh, like that relationship is the full problem. Like, that's why I'm sad. That's why I'm miserable and so whatever. That's not always the reason. There's deeper things, and you have to be willing to do that deeper work in order to get over that relationship, but also to learn from it. If you don't want to learn from whatever happened in that relationship, it takes two to tango. Yeah, that person could have treated you shittily, but you stayed. Take accountability.
Yeah, focus. Yes, like that is so good,
like,
because you need to focus on the why.
Why, exactly.
Instead of
the why is so important, because because like you can think you're getting over a breakup and crying over it and that's the full problem, but like that person treating you shittily, they might have done that, but at the same time, you chose to stay. You chose to allow that behavior. Dig deep. Why are you allowing that in your life?
And why are you so upset about this abusive person being gone in your life?
Yeah.
And it's not coming from a like, why, girl? It's like, no, literally, why?
Literally.
Like, there had to have been something that attracted you to that pulled you to that, some part of you that isn't healed or being hurt. So focus on the why did I allow it, instead of the what.
Yeah.
What did he do? Like, girl, boy, they did it.
They did it.
And like she said.
And you allowed it. And so, like, at the end of the day, I always say it. The first thing I say when people come to me with their issues is like, I'm going to hear you out. I'm here for you. But it does take two to tango. You allowed it and they did it. But at the end of the day, you have to heal from that, but there's usually something deeper. So don't go right into a relationship after thinking the relationship is what you healed from and you can just go right back into it because you're feeling better from that. No, there's deeper things. You allowed certain things, and so don't continue the cycle. If you continue the cycle, you're just proving to yourself like that's your worthiness.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, there's another side. Yes. And I'm going to tell you, we're both, at this moment in time, we're both living like proof of that. Because we take our time. We've both taught each other so much in these past year of living together almost. And it's just like incredible what you can do when you actually take the time for yourself. So be intentional with what you're giving your time to. Don't expect things to come to you. And always be your biggest best friend. There's one thing I said is like, if you can list all the things about your best friend so quickly and so easily of like how much you love them, learn to do that for yourself. If someone asks you, what do you love about yourself? You should be able to answer that. What do you love about yourself?
More than just superficial stuff, like my hair.
No, like, anyone can say that, but it's like my heart. I love how closely I pay attention to things, or like there's deeper things you can talk about, learn about yourself, and then you could bring that to a relationship in a so much more healthier way. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So just remember that always.
Yes, that was really good. Something I want to touch on quickly is the idea that there's the right person, wrong time. I think that this concept, concept withholds a lot of people from moving on because you're attached to this idea but that was my person because it was the right person. But I think that this phrase is really dangerous, especially for people that aren't fully moved on. And listen, this is just me and my opinion and my experience and what I can share to try and help someone out there that may be going through this mind. But in my opinion, you are who you surround yourself with. You inevitably become that person. So if you were in a relationship with someone for a while and you spent a lot of time with them, then you guys inevitably attracted each other for a reason. Mm-hmm. So you guys were very similar in that sense. And if it still didn't work out, that's because you weren't becoming the person
you were meant to be.
So how could they be the person for you if being with them didn't fulfill your truest version?
Yeah. That line in general is a big thing because many
Which
people
again,
just
you see on social media.
Yeah, it's like this could be my person. Things went south, but maybe they'll come back to me.
Yeah, later on. And then
maybe they will. Maybe they will. You never know. Life throws the weirdest things to you.
No, that is true.
And you never know. Maybe they will come back. But
you can't,
don't rely on that.
Yes, and you can't be stuck on this concept that they were the right person and it was just the wrong time, because no, it was the right time for the wrong person at the moment, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, you guys, it happened for a reason. You were a specific version that attracted that at that time, so it's not that it was the wrong time. It's just that it didn't work out because, again, maybe you need more time to build that relationship with yourself.
Always.
But yeah,
it always stems back to that, spending time with yourself.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, what I just want to say is don't get too caught up in those quotes and those phrases and those trends, really, because in order to build a relationship with yourself and an authentic and genuine relationship with yourself, you have to believe that the right person for yourself is you. and will always be you. And if someone comes along, best believe that you are that version that's attracting that in the moment. So if it doesn't work out, or if it does work out, it has very little to do with that person. It has more to do with who you are in the moment. So get rid of that right person, wrong time, and start focusing more on who am I in that moment.
Yeah.
And then that'll make you more inclined to want to build the relationship with yourself.
Oftentimes you are proven wrong. You can think right person, wrong time, but you are proven wrong oftentimes.
Yes.
That isn't your person. And I think that's what she's trying to get at. It's like, yeah, you can believe whatever, you can hold on to hope or whatever for whatever reasons. But at the end of the day, that hope isn't, like, don't rely on that to get you to a certain place, because if you say right person, wrong time, you're always going to be thinking about that person and you're never actually going to move on from them. Get serious about speaking to yourself nicely. It's just like, I actually, like, mental health is important and everything, but it's like, you know how everyone's like, go to the gym, like fitness, like it's very important. Physical fitness is very important. Mental,
Yeah, brain is a muscle.
We're gonna call it mental fitness because yeah, health has many like meanings to it or whatever, but treat going to the gym or whatever the same as like your brain. You should be doing daily check-ins, doing check-ins weekly of like how your brain is doing, how you're feeling. It's just as important. We dismiss
100%.
that because what we can see on the outside is the physical and what we're going, like what people are doing physically. But there's a brain here. People are going through things.
Your brain is a muscle. It's how in the gym you have to be consistent and take care of yourself and do all of these things to see the muscle.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with your brain.
Always.
You have to consistently do check-ins, like she said, look within. Basically what we were saying about looking within and being consistent with building that relationship with yourself. If you're not consistent, then you're not going to see much change in the way that you view yourself or love yourself.
Yeah, like you go to the gym for months before you see an ass or like before you see muscle and stuff. It's the same with the gym, with your mental like capacity. You're not going to see it in a day. You're not going to see it in a week, but with time it comes. So don't lose faith in yourself, and always remember, you are your biggest supporter. From now, from the first day to the last day, you should be your biggest supporter. So work on that. Take power in that. It is such a privilege to be able to do that. And so that is, I think, just beautiful. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Okay, with that being said, we're going to wrap it up, but we hope that you guys take the time today, the day of love, to try and do some of these tips that we're sharing. Really focus on building a relationship with yourself with the things we mentioned, such as being consistent with your time and being conscious of what you're telling yourself, how you're speaking to yourself, letting go of expectations, both societal expectations and your own expectations, and just reminding yourself that you truly are a star.
You are your best friend.
We love you guys.
We love you so much. Mwah.
Oh, they're just saying it. What is that for you? Oh, I'm so excited for tomorrow.
That person that would be in toxic relationships and like it was like a bad thing.
I'm sorry,
I'm not talking about you.
Cuts.
Thank you very much.
Oh, we were a little too.
We were not locked in. Yeah, okay. You just want to leave.
Yeah. Okay, let me lock in.
Wait,
cut. Sorry,
yeah,
sorry.
That's quick. Okay. I need to look at this. TikTok came back and so
Sorry.
TikTok came back and you're crying over that. Like cut.
Sorry, I had to get it. And then a little shh. Okay, cool. You know what I'm saying? Okay.
It's getting easier to visualize it.